Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado, and this is my buddy Puccini. He keeps me company in the craft room and generally gets into things he shouldn't. We have a very fun card for you, and it's featuring the textured chic specialty designer paper. And it's a thinking of you card, but it could be birthday, it could be anniversary, it could be just about anything. And this paper is absolutely gorgeous. So let's just get started. Okay, here is my card, and this is about the simplest fun fold there is. And I hadn't done one of these in a really long time, and this paper just seemed to cry out for this design. And the paper again is, I'm using two different kinds of paper on this. The first is this textured chic 12 by 12 specialty designer paper, and this paper is just gorgeous. There are so many pretty pieces in here, and I ended up using this paper, and this paper. I had an idea of cutting out a circle, but I didn't like it. So these are the three papers that I ended up using on this. And this has got this on the back side, and I did use a little bit of that as well. This doesn't take up a lot of paper, and it's a very simple design, and yet it's very nice, and it is a bit of a fun fold. So the other papers that are in here are, again, just as beautiful. There's a seashell paper, and there is some papers with more of the green tones, and this is Evening Evergreen, and oh, I can't remember what the other one is, Soft Succulent and Gold, and then it's got also Mango Melody. And there's a cards and envelopes set that you can get that has this pattern in it, part of the textured chic. And then look at that one, isn't that gorgeous? I mean, and petal pink, they're just beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, the other thing that I used was this stuff, which is this gold, distressed gold 12 by 12 specialty paper. And it comes 2 to a pack, and I think it's $5, so it's pretty reasonable. So let me tell you what you need to make this card. Again, it's extremely simple. I used a thick white cardstock base that is 8.5 by 5.5 scored and folded at 4 1/4. And for this one, there's additional score. And so we want this one to fold back on itself. So I'm going to turn it over and score this at 1 1/4. Just like that. And then that allows me to take this arm here that I've just scored and fold it back on itself. And the only thing you want to watch is make sure that your top and bottom line up with the card behind it. Scoring can be a little tricky sometimes, but there we go. So that is basically the card. And you can put this piece sort of this way, do your design like this, so that the label or the focal point hangs off the edge here. You can put it square and do it this way vertically. This is an extremely versatile little card, because if you did your card this way it really looks completely different. And you can do it so that I glued my piece down, but you don't have to. This piece can just open up like this. So with this attached here, it can open like that. This can be pushed all the way over here. You can do that. You can do it this way and have this on one side or the other, or right in the middle, and make your design so that the card opens this way. This is one that is really good to have in your bag of tricks because there's just a million things you can do with it. Now on mine, I turned it to a diamond shape. So there's my card base. This piece is also basic white, and it is 3 inches by 3 inches, and that just spans the whole card. And so you don't want to make it any bigger than that if you're going to go on a diagonal. Then I have this piece of the polka dot paper that's 2 inches by 5 1/4, and that's going to allow me to have this sit behind here. You can do all kinds of textures, embossing folders, and different kinds of things to get different kinds of things back here too. And then this piece is going to be glued down. Then I have a piece of this gorgeous paper that's going to go on the front, and these are all 5 1/4. These two pieces are 1 inch. This one is 2 inches, and so it's going to go together like that. Now this piece is going to go on here, and again that's 3 by 3 square. Then I have a piece of the distressed gold that is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, so that I get a matte border. And you might want to make that matte border maybe a little bit smaller. I kind of liked all the borders the same, so if you're going to make one smaller, then you need to make the rest of them so that they kind of match. So instead of being 5 1/4, you might do this at 5 3/8, so that it goes all the way a little bit more top and bottom. Scoot this over a little bit, and then these pieces would be 1, and instead of being 1 inch, they might be 1 1/8, so that they would be a smaller border. It's just whatever pleases your eye. Now I did cut a second piece here because on this card I did cut a little piece to fit on the back there. I didn't like the way that looked with just the white. And there's the inside. So your inside is automatically decorated by layering this piece on here. And then I used our bow punch because I thought that would make this super simple. So I cut another piece of this, and I'll show you how I trimmed that down so it works on this card. If you set this up here, because this is about, oh, I don't know, this is a little over 1 inch, almost 1.5 inches, in order to tuck behind here so that you don't see the end of the paper. So if you cut a 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, you can cut 2 ends and get 2 cards out of one of these extra little things. And so what I did is I put my point at the 1.5 inch mark, and then I lined it up so that these points matched up to the 1.5 inch line on this side, and that way I was assured to get a perfect little corner that would fit there. And then you can flip it around and do exactly the same thing, and now you'll have a straight edge on this side, and you set it at 1.5, and then line up your straight edge on this side, and you get another perfect corner, and you end up with a little strip that is, oh, like this. And you can use that to cut out some of the leaves and some of these little flowers for this project or another project, whatever you'd like to do. So very little waste on this. All right, so that is all the pieces. Now I did use my bow punch also on that other piece of designer series paper, and I cut out a bunch of leaves And you can actually use either side on this, although I had a tendency to like the side that had the little darker pieces because it matched this paper a little bit better. But I cut 3 of these leaves, and a couple of these were left over from my first one. And then I cut a gold one for the inside, and I did cut a little flower, and we'll decide if maybe we could put it underneath here to add another touch of the gold on the front. We'll have to see. Otherwise, it just worked out that it cut. So, all right, so very simple to do. And I cut out a couple of these flowers too, using this punch. And you need a piece that is about, I think it's 3 inches. Let's see. Well, you could probably get it at 2.5, a strip that's 2.5 inches, and then you can slide it through and punch, and then slide it through and punch. Or if you have just an edge, I found that you could put very small piece here, so just scrap in here and punch the flower, and then you only need a piece for this strip that is no more than 1.5, and slide it through, and then you can kind of wiggle it around so that you get quite a few cuts. It isn't regimented one right after the other because of the way the stem and the leaves work. If you do it kind of at an angle, you can get 2 or 3 on your little strip of paper like this and get quite a few cuts out of it. And the other thing that you need, this piece is 5/8 of an inch by 2 inches if you want to use this kind of a sentiment. And the sentiment I used was from Special Moments, Thinking of You. That would make a lovely sympathy card. It would make a great birthday card. This is a great stamp set because it's got all kinds of things that you can use. I'm going to add some seal to the back of my designer series paper here, and get that put in place. And that is going to go right in here with a similar margin top to bottom and on the side. And there we go. Now this piece now folds over that quite easily. So I'm going to add a bead of the seal on this as well. And I want that to glue down really good and tight. Very good. All right, now this piece, and this is really not directional. Those little flowers on there kind of go every which direction. So this one, I'm going to just add some seal to the back of it. And get that placed on this edge, lining that up with the strip that we've got over to the left, as far as top to bottom is concerned. And get that on that piece. Then this piece on the inside, and everything will have exactly the same margin on it. It works pretty slick. And like I say, it's a little different in that it is a little bit more of a fun fold, but it's so easy to do. It's pretty simple. I think it's time to change my blade. My strips are getting a little beard on them. Okay, so this one now we're going to set here and match that margin again, top to bottom and along the edge. And there we go. There's most of our decoration done. Isn't that fun? It goes really fast. So this piece is 3 inches by 3 inches, and I did put this one up on dimensionals. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and put my gold piece in place. And get that set so that it is centered on this piece of white. Isn't that a great color combination? Oh my gosh, it's just beautiful. And then center this on here. So if I just turn this over like this, and I know that's where it's going to go, I can see right where I have to put my dimensionals. And you don't want to put dimensionals here or you'll seal your card shut. And this can go into place, and I'm absolutely confident that that is going to fit. So this point on this end should line up here, and there we, oh shoot, I forgot to add this piece first. Well, that's all right, because it'll tuck under there. We left room with the dimensionals. So I'm just going to add a little bit of, and I'm going to use dot runner just in case I have to move this. But I'm going to tuck this inside here so that it fits there and just leaves a little tiny white margin. And that way it's prettier to look at. Now, had I done that before I put that on there, I might have scooted that down so it had the same margin as these pieces. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some of the flowers here. Now on the inside, what I did was I just lifted this little piece here. I guess I could have done that beforehand. And in fact, I'm going to cut this bottom piece off, and I'm going to add a little bit of tape runner here, and I'm going to stick this stem right underneath the base there and have my leaves coming up, out, and over. And there we go. And that's plenty. I did cut one little flower, so we could add the little flower, but I think maybe I'll add it to the front so that I add a little something extra in the way of gold. All right, so here are my leaves, and I think what I'm going to do is start with one large one. And what I've done is I took a little piece of dimensionals that are the minis, and I sliced up one row so that I had half minis. And so I'm going to take those half minis and I'm going to add those to the leaves. I added just a little bit of snail to the bottom of the stem because I want them to kind of meet together here so I can put my ribbon on. All right, so now I'm going to need to slice up some more of these. And you can just cut right up the middle, and it gives you those little half minis. You wouldn't think you needed a half mini, but here we go. Okay, there we go. So I've got my leaves, and I've raised some of them and some of them I haven't. Then I've already done my stamping on this. I did the Thinking of You, and I did that in Soft Succulent. And that one is just going to go across here like this with a little dimensional on that end. So I will put a dimensional on this end and then add some glue here and put that in place across here. And this one, I'm dying to use this little guy. I don't know why, but I was thinking that I could just kind of randomly stick it under here and extend the gold a little bit. So I don't know, you'll have to tell me what you think. It's kind of silly. Okay, so there we go. Now the only thing we have left to do is to add the bow, and what I did is I just used linen thread, and I suppose we have some soft succulent ribbon, and we have maybe something else we can use, but the linen thread worked pretty good. And so I just put the two strands together and made a little bow. And again, it doesn't have to be a very big one. And then I'll cut my tails. And use a couple of glue dots right in here. And put my bow in place. Right in here. And there we go. It's just about finished. It's so simple, so easy to do, and I suppose we could, if you wanted to, we could use the additional punch that is the flowers and leaves and put flowers in here as well, but I thought this was sufficient. And so now I took a pretty good sized rhinestone and added it here on the panel. Then I put either a small or a medium one right here on the edge of the sentiment, and then a little one right up here to dress up this panel down the side. And there we go. That is my project for the day. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, well, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Or you could join my team. There's an offer going on right now. That's the normal offer, which is $125 worth of product for $99. And you'll start out as a demonstrator with a 20% discount. And then there's, for the joint offer, there is a planner, and it's a beautiful book. It's 8 by 9.5, and it's got, I think it's an 18-month calendar, and it has the pages, the dividers, stickers, all kinds of things to dress it up on the inside. It's really pretty. And, you know, those things are quite expensive in the stores, and this one is just lovely. So that is the joint offer. Now my prize draw for the month is a $60 shopping spree on me. You can put yourself in the drawing by putting an order of any size on my store, lbedinger.stampinup.net, and you can get to it through my blog, www.inkandingenuity.com. And all of the measurements and pictures and everything will be up on the blog for this one in a couple of days. So that's it for me. I will be back soon with more cards, more projects, and more tips. I'll see you next time. Bye.